Hey guys, we are back with another video. Dave from Timber Time Outdoors. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you clicked on this video, it's very likely that you are interested in kayak accessories or you're doing a kayak build. That's what this video is all about, and we're going to break it down into 3 categories. We're going to talk about needs and wants, so stay with us, guys.
Hey now, take a step outside and seize the day now.
All right, guys, let's jump right into it because we've got a lot to cover. I've got more accessories here in terms of value than maybe the kayak itself. And like I said, we're going to break this down into 3 main categories when it comes to accessories. We're going to talk about 3 things, so we're going to bucket these into 3 things. First, we're going to talk about safety. And safety kind of depends on where you are in the country. If you're fishing some big water like oceans down in Florida or whatnot, the safety risk goes way up, so you're going to need a little bit more safety devices and gear. If you're up here in the north and just fishing lakes, it might be a little less. Safety is the first one. The second one is storage. So kayaks are awesome, but they really don't have much at all. And so there's a bunch of accessories that you can buy to kind of improve your organization and storage in a kayak. And then lastly, we're going to talk about fishability or boat control, things that can make your fishing experience a little bit better, maybe improve your chances of catching fish. And then in all 3 of those categories, I'm going to talk about what you absolutely have to have, and then maybe what you need or want. This is a lot of money sitting right here. I actually purchased this stuff over about a 6-month period, a little bit at a time, because it added up to a ton of money. So let's get right into it. Let's start with the safety category. All right, safety category. These are all must-haves. And again, if you're fishing ocean water, you're going to need a few more things. There are other videos that cover that better than I'm going to today. But let's just jump into the safety stuff that I have. I'll lead off with the very obvious one, and that is a PFD. Okay, this is a cheap Charlie. It's going to save your life. I don't care for these because they're uncomfortable. At least take one with you. If you're not going to wear it, make sure it's in the boat. I mentioned there's no storage in these kayaks, and so taking one with you and not wearing it's kind of a problem. I really do like these. This is an inflatable. Super simple to put on. Flip it over your head, put your arms through. And it's not it's not a very intrusive type of thing. You can fish. There's a cartridge that goes with it. These are about $100. PFD, absolutely mandatory. So I like this one. This is an Onyx. All right, next up here is first aid kit, okay? It's kind of a no-brainer. I just bought one on Amazon. It's full of all kinds of stuff here. And I'm gonna add a few things. Painkillers, just to, I don't know, get a headache for whatever reason. Sunscreen, gotta have sunscreen, especially if you're in Florida. This is a Hobie whistle. I mean, there's all kinds of whistles out there. This is a fire starter that also has a whistle. You're probably wondering, why do you need fire if you're on a kayak? I don't know. Who knows? If you lose your paddle and your pedal drive goes in the water and you get marooned and whatever. I don't know. I just think having fire is one of the basic things that you should have in a first aid kit, so I bought it. This one right here is a Railblaza. This is a safety flag and light, and I think this is a must-have because kayaks are kind of hard to see on the water, especially one that is this color. So this is the camo version. In that video I referenced earlier, I talked about why I bought the camo version. It might be smarter to actually buy one that's like lime green or orange so you're more visible. But that's what this does. This goes on the back of the kayak, the yellow or orange flag and a light. Just makes you more visible to boaters if you happen to be fishing when there's a lot of big power boats out there. You don't want to get run over. All right, what else? Must have Leatherman or some kind of tools, okay? You can go crazy with tools. Just make sure that you can fix a screw or, something comes loose. You got something to do that. I like the Leatherman because it's lightweight, small, has just about everything in there. Sunglasses, I'm a huge fan of these. This is the Cast Kings. I'll reference another video where I talk about Cast Kings. I like them, they're cheap, and they work really well. I actually have 2 different pairs, depending on if it's cloudy or sunny. This is just a mount, and be aware as we go through this video, you're gonna need all kinds of mounts for all this stuff to stay organized. So this mount goes on the H crate and holds the Rail Blazer flag. I think I forgot this one, safety kit, so this is just some Neosporin. You never know when you're gonna need light, if you get out there past dark. So flashlight or these glow sticks probably get you by. And then lastly, I'm gonna talk about this. So this is flex tape. And these kayaks are pretty durable, but you never know, right? You hit a rock or you somehow get a hole in your kayak, this stuff could save you. So flex tape, I'm gonna keep that in the kayak as well. So that's the safety category. And again, everything on here, in my opinion, is a must-have. And if you are fishing big water, you're probably gonna need to add to this list. So let's go on to category 2, which is storage. Okay, storage. This can get out of control really fast. So I'm gonna just start with the basics. When everybody buys a Hobie, the first thing they do is they change out, it comes with a round 8-inch hatch in the center, like right between your legs. They change it out to one of these. So this is a rectangular hatch. They take that round one, they move it to the front. It's a no-brainer, right? That's how you're gonna get some more storage. You'll then have 2 hatches. Then what you can do is you can buy, some containers to make sure that the stuff doesn't go down into the hull. So here's the rectangular little basket for it. There's different versions of that hold tackle, blah, blah, blah. And then here's the one for the round, just empty, it's like a Tupperware type of thing. So I would say that is absolutely necessary. The next one that I will mention here is, depending on what kayak you have, you can do a hatch in the back. And so with the Compass, unfortunately, you can't do another 8-inch hatch. But you can do a 6-inch hatch, so that's what I have purchased. And the main reason I want one of these in the back is, not really for storage, because what are you going to get in a 6-inch hatch? This thing's tiny. This is a little basket that goes inside here. Might get my first aid kit in here. Probably use a dry bag as well. But the main reason is so I have access, right? So then I can get my hand in there and I can tighten bolts. So modify your kayak and add hatches. That's the first thing that is a must have. It just makes sense to get storage. Then the next category I'll talk about is an H crate or some sort of crate. And you can do a milk carton or a milk crate. They're super cheap. They work. I like the Hobie system mainly because of the rail system that they have. You can mount stuff on there. So I went with the Hobie one, and then I bought the little, it's a top for it basically. There's another nice one out there. You're probably aware of it. Yak Attack makes it. Different colors, different sizes. I've seen guys, depending on what kind of fishing they're doing, they grab a new crate full of stuff. Awesome system. But I would say an H crate of some kind, whether it's a milk crate or Hobie, you got to have that. Just add so much more storage. All right, then we kind of get into that gray area. Do I really need this? I would say maybe the rest of this stuff is kind of a nice to have. So I'm going to talk about these. This is kind of a gray area whether you should have these, but these are just the little rubber nets. They kind of go right by your leg. You can keep all kinds of stuff in there. Some of the kayaks come with it. Unfortunately, this one doesn't. Then I'm going to talk about this stuff. So this is Hobie stuff. It's little containers for tackle and you name it. It's got a nice tether on here. Kind of expensive little bugger. It goes on their H rail, but I do think it's well made and super organized. So I'm going to tether my fishing pliers on there with that. One thing about the Compass is the built-in water. You need water, right? The cup holder's not the greatest on this particular kayak. And so I bought the Hobie version. I don't know. Again, nice to have. Water's not, but this is, you can just keep it in your hatch if you want to. This is another nice one here. Goes on the back of the seat. So it really expands your storage. When you're out in the water, it can be hot, it can be cold, it can be rainy. Having a jacket, where are you going to keep your jacket? Well, this is where I'm going to keep mine, in here. So it's right behind me. I can just grab it quickly. You can never have enough dry bags. Whoops. You can never have enough dry bags. So the cheap Amazon one. Now, I happen to, like the Yak Attack stuff when it comes to these little, I guess they call them T container. This is the Mighty Mount Gridlock. There's different versions of this. There's aluminum ones. I have a whole bunch of these, right? So I'm gonna, 2 of them come on the kayak. I'm gonna add 4 more so that I can just accessorize and mount things where I want to move them around. So that's that one. This is another one that I think is really nice. You got to keep your paddle with you, even though you have a pedal drive. I really like how this double header thing works. It kind of gets that paddle away from you. And so, again, nice to have. This is for sure nice to have. These are the H-rails, and I'm going to do something a little different with this kayak. They make a shorter one. There's all kinds of lengths. This is actually the one from the Outback. And I'm going to mount it. I'll do a video on this. I'm going to mount them onto these guys. And so it's going to be easier to grab onto the kayak. I can add more accessories to it. And so that's the H-rail. So that is storage. You can get crazy with it. Let's move on to the last category, which is boat control and fishability. All right, the last category here is how do you control your boat so you can catch fish. This is another gray area where, some of this stuff is needed, some of this stuff is a nice to have. I'm going to start off talking about the fish finder thing because it's a very slippery slope. You can start off with just a basic flasher, something that tells you the depth, and you can go all the way up to, live scope where, $3,000, you can see the fish far away and go find them. And there's everything in between. This is a Helix 7. I bought it for ice fishing. It's going to work fine. There's some nice things in between there. Side imaging is another one. If you do side imaging, you're going to have to worry about your transducer getting below the boat. This particular kayak doesn't have that ability. I think the Outback does, where you pull a cord, and there goes your transducer, so you can get side imaging. This one, I don't have side imaging on this particular unit. So I'm just going with the regular transducer. The point here is you need some kind of fish finder, and you're going to need 8 million different little packages of mounts and ways to run your wires. Here's your transducer. I'm going to mount it into the floor. You're going to need some sort of battery. Lithium is a lot lighter, so I went with lithium. And again, I had this for ice fishing, so brought that over. And then a place to hold that battery. There's lots of videos on how to do this and different ways to do this. I think I'll leave it at that. Fish finder is mandatory. You got to have one. You're just going to struggle if you don't have something to tell you the depth. Next, we're going to talk about anchors. And this is a great debate, whether you need an anchor, don't need an anchor, and it kind of depends on where you are. I happen to like the Anchor Wizard. There's going to be situations where I'm going to need it, and I don't want to be screwing around with, rope, and you pull that stuff in, you bring in weeds and so forth. So this system, if you haven't seen the Anchor Wizard, is pretty slick. So I bought the Anchor Wizard, and they make an anchor. I just went with a little simple 5-pound, mushroom anchor, and then I'm gonna partner that with some sort of anchor trolley, and I bought the Yak Attack version. There's videos again on how to do that, but essentially I've got this little crank, and I can move my anchor to the front or the back pretty seamlessly. Again, is this a must-have? Probably not. And there's different ways to do that. In order to get this how I wanted it, I've got a bunch of different mounts. It's quite expensive to get this anchor. I really agonized over whether I was going to do that, but I did it. Okay, so what else here? Oh, this is a power cord. I forgot to mention. Again, lots of cords for the fish finder. Then we get into stuff like this, which is, rod holders. Again, slippery slope, all kinds of rod holders. I like the Yak Attack ones. Ram makes some, Scotty, all kinds of those. Just pick the one you want. You can see here I've got, mounted on a little track system. You can move them around. I like to troll, so I'm going to have 2 of these. What else? Okay, so let's talk about minnows. Live bait versus plastics. It's a heck of a lot easier if you can go with plastics. I'm old school and like live bait. So I'm gonna go with a minnow bubbler. I'll have a future video on how I'm going to couple this with my H crate. Hopefully it's gonna work out. I think it's gonna work out nicely actually. It'll be right behind me. So I'll have live bait. Okay, I want to talk about, when you do catch a fish, what do? Well, you can hang it over the side with a stringer. Or, you can buy one of these, or, Hobie makes versions of it. There's some other brands out there. This is a super cheap one. Magellan makes it's a bag cooler. It goes up on the bow. So it sits up here on the bow, and it's kind of on your way. Catch a fish, you toss it in there. You got ice or ice packs in there, keeps the fish from spoiling on you. So that's my system when it comes to what do I do with the fish. Wheels, you get this thing out of your truck, or you get it off the top of your vehicle, and you got to get down to the water. I'm using the Sea Tug. We actually bought this one for our other kayak, and I'm going to use it here. Hobie makes a bunch of wheel systems. I think you got to have that unless you're super strong. You want to just muscle it down there. You can get right to a launch. Good idea to have a wheel system. All right, what else? I kind of talked about this in the safety portion, having some sort of pliers. This is a very specific fishing pliers, and just those kinds of tools. Won't get into tackle. There's all kinds of that to worry about. And then a couple of bonus things here. I didn't know what category to put this in, but this is a protection for the bow. So if you're coming into rocks, this is made by Bumper Bro, and some goop to put that on. So that goes on the nose, and as you come in, if you got rocks, it's not going to wreck your kayak. So I don't know if that's storage or safety or fishability, but something that I thought you needed. And then this right here, I think this is actually something you should have, but this is the Hobie tether. These pedal drives are super expensive. They go overboard. You're out $1,000 for a new pedal drive. I know that was a lot to digest. Hopefully you guys will hit rewind and watch this again. But those are all the accessories that I am going to put on this kayak. I'm not going to do any installation videos, but I will show you the finished product, and we'll kind of talk through it there. I'm going to make that video once I get it all installed. So that is the third category. All right, this video is getting a little bit long. We're going to wrap this one up. Hopefully you guys learned a few things about accessories. Again, I purchased this stuff over a period of time. I think I started in November, and now it's May, so more than 6 months worth of time. $30 here, $40 there, $100 there. Over a period of time, it wasn't so terrible, but there's a lot of money here, and I understand that this is probably excessive, but I like to do things right. I'm kind of gear junkie, so I'm all in. And this kayak is going to be pretty amazing when it comes to fishing and getting around on the water. So we'll wrap this video up. Thanks for watching, guys. Share, like, subscribe, send to your friends, and remember, everybody, keep it in the timber. Bye-bye.